The following program is rated TV-MALV. It contains strong language, violence, and nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Keeping it real.
Shazam! Keeping it real.
Well, I probably shouldn't show you this, but I'm totally going to.
Chad on Demand. Chad on Demand. One podcast is keeping it real.
Hello? Hey, I love your show.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
Hello, Americans, and welcome to Chad on Demand. It's the Keeping It Real podcast, a presentation of Hardy Media. This is episode 3. My name is Chad Hardy. I am your host. Today is Thursday, March 26th. Thank you for being here. This is where we bring you the very latest coronavirus information, where we dig deeper, where we get real stories from real people, and where we don't sugarcoat it. It's now day 13 of the national emergency. Lots of us have now been home for well over 7 days. How's your mental state? Feeling better? No? I'm still feeling moments of anxiety, feeling a little more optimistic as we trudge through the stay-at-home orders. Uncertainty as to when we get back to work, when we get back to no social distancing, when stores and businesses will be opening up. All still huge question marks. I'm feeling empathy, especially for those affected by this, more specifically, first and foremost, those who have lost loved ones these past couple of weeks. Also, high school seniors, people losing their businesses. Yes, losing them already. I've talked to people this week who have told me they will not be able to open back up no matter what the federal government gives them. As of now, nothing has been signed by the president. This morning, I just heard that unemployment checks may not get to you for up to 3 to 4 months. That certainly makes a lot of people uneasy. This is not the podcast I had planned on putting out there. But we don't live in that world anymore. It doesn't exist. Not a month ago. Not even a week ago. Not 2 weeks ago. The world we live in right now, at this moment, very uncertain. And not all agree. I appreciate and encourage your feedback. Your support has been overwhelming and surpassed any of my expectations. You can interact with us on Facebook. It's Chad on Demand. Twitter, Chad on Demand at Chadillac Hardy. And you can follow us on Instagram. We'll have poll questions, comments, suggestions, previews for upcoming shows, reviews, and commentary on past shows, all there. Get in on the conversation. Got a subject you'd like to talk about? Hit us up. Links to our website are located on all of our social pages. And of course, you can download all of our shows at the Hardy Media website. We're now already on episode 3. You know, we started with just 2 platforms, and now as of yesterday, we're added by Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, and Spreaker. The page is Chad on Demand, the Keeping It Real podcast. Your input is valuable. Give it to me. My attitude is that we're all in this together. And by staying informed, we'll get through this. We'll get through the coming weeks, the coming months, and beyond. Put us in your favorites right now. Chad on Demand, the Keep It Real podcast. Today, March 26th, we are live in the desert of northern Nevada, day 13 of the national emergency. Coming up, we're going to talk with the mother of a Mormon missionary who was out of the country during all of this, still out of the country. Where's he at now? Efforts to get missionaries back into the United States and how she's coping with it all. The uncertainty, the anxiety, I can't even imagine. Having a child overseas during this tragedy, no way. Many are experiencing similar situations. And we go back to the Midwest, this time in Iowa. Longtime friend and schoolmate from Elko. He runs a Harley Davidson dealership, and he also tells it like it is. Wade Adams will be with us. Always a great interview. What's the future look like for him? What is one of America's most iconic companies in Harley Davidson doing for their employees and their store owners? And what's the vibe in Iowa? Where normally right now they would be focusing on the upcoming presidential race. Things aren't normal anymore. Unbelievable. It really is. It's just sad. So there's lots to get to before we get into the latest counts and the headlines. A couple of follow-ups regarding the last show. We mentioned that Tesla Gigafactory in Reno still not shut down. They've been deemed an essential business by the federal government. I was able to talk to an employee there of whom listened to the podcast. They said they were delivered masks to wear, mandatory hand sanitizing. Yet just today, 2 Tesla employees tested positive. It was also announced that Panasonic would be shutting down operations in Reno. Tesla, at this moment, remains essential. I was going to give you a rundown of how to collect your money. We've had so many conflicting stories tonight. I just don't feel comfortable doing that. I don't feel comfortable passing the information I have along to you because I don't have enough credible information to pass along. But as soon as I do, I will. It's got to be verified. We don't hand out misinformation here. And to be honest with you, I don't think anyone quite has the answer to that. Not at this point. Now, the bill was passed by the Senate, the House to vote on it tomorrow, and it allows for $1,200 for individuals, $3,400 for a family of 4. But we're already almost 2 full weeks here in Nevada, California, Washington, and New York with mandatory shutdowns. The rest of the country following suit. What happens in 2 more weeks? Too late. One report stating that if you don't have direct deposit, it could take up to 4 months to get your check. 4 months. So what happens? When the father, who has been home with his family, isolated for weeks now, sees that there's nothing in the fridge, no check in the mail. As a father, as a man, at that point, survival instincts kick in. I don't want to speculate. I don't want to incite fear. I want to, and I will, keep it real. Right now, let's check in with a manager of a Harley Davidson dealership in the heart of America. Checking in with Iowa and longtime friend Wade Adams. How are you, buddy?
Doing pretty good. Before we start, I would like to say one thing. My heart goes out to the people that are affected, and if I offend anybody, I guess we're just going to have to deal with it because I'm going to come from the heart with this, buddy.
Well, that's why we call it keeping it real. And and so we're just going to keep it real. I mean, because, people are getting butthurt left and right, and that's okay. I had somebody today who was, their kid ran up to give me a hug, and I said, whoa. And just, you have to step back. I wasn't being rude, but,
sure.
Little kids don't wash their hands, and you're supposed to be doing social distancing. So those types of things I'm sure we're all running into. And I got to ask you, so you're in Carroll, Iowa. And
correct.
How big is Carroll, Iowa?
It's, to be exact, it's probably close to 10,000 people in the city of Iowa and the surrounding area. There's got to be 30,000.
So tell me the vibe there. I mean, tell me about what it feels like, what people are saying, what your friends are saying, what your employees are feeling. What's the vibe there?
Chad, I gotta level with you. What's in our community? There's a sense of urgency to stay strong, stay together, stay united. There's a lot of fear because nobody really has an answer or a crystal ball as to where this thing's going to go. There's some fear, associated with it, but our community is pulling together. There's not a lot of division, which is really a pleasant thing to see.
Are there any stay-at-home orders or anything there?
Not as of yet, but there's a fair amount of social distancing going on, which respectfully is a pretty good idea.
Now, let me ask you also, have you noticed anything when you go to the stores? No stores are closed, nothing like that. How about bars and restaurants?
Bars and restaurants are closed. Hair salons, restaurants are curbside only. Those kinds of things are happening, unfortunately. People are just doing the best to get through it.
This is the one where you go, I'm going to reach out. I'm going to reach out to my friends, see what's going on. I want to know what's going on in different parts of the country. Because if you look at what's going on in New York, none of us are feeling that. I mean, it looks to me like a war zone that you watch the news this morning and the hospitals are overfilled already. And that is just going to roll throughout the United States, And I don't think a lot of people are really coming to grasp with that fact. And that's totally understandable, too, because, we're isolated from people.
Here's the other thing about that, though, right? You grow up in a small town, you have this innate ability to be born with this sense of being bulletproof because, people from small towns are generally a little more stubborn, a little more proud. That translates horribly to this situation because if we don't get on the ball, we're going to get behind the ball. And if you get behind the ball, it could cost you your life.
How long can you guys sustain without going to work?
As a community, as a company?
As a company, you're the manager, you run it. Are you guys paying your employees?
Absolutely.
Okay. How long can you do that and stay in business?
Sustainably without assistance, maybe a little over a month or two. It would be very tough.
A lot of anxiety?
Of course, everywhere. There's a lot of people terrified. And here's another scary thought. And I don't mean to be a fearmonger, but when people are scared, they're easily roped into things. And I think that I hope that this isn't an opportunity to steer people in that direction. Does that make sense?
It does. Totally, yeah. I mean, I think everybody's feeling that. What is Harley Davidson doing to help you guys?
I can't speak for Harley Davidson, but they do have plans in play. They're actually being proactive in the middle of all this. I can't go into great detail on what Harley Davidson, the motor company, is doing because I can't speak for them, nor would I. But
Sure.
they have our best interests at heart, and they are looking out for their dealer network.
I imagine employee safety is probably at the top of their list.
Paramount. That is the key. Our customer safety, our employee safety, our dealer principal safety. The whole dealer network wants to see the best possible outcome because one thing that's really odd about Harley people is it's more of a family than you don't see giant groups of Ford truck owners or Chevy truck owners getting together, 300,000 of them to go drink beer, where, the Harley community is pretty tight knit and it's a big family. And so not that we're more important or any better than anybody, but it is truly a family and we really want the best for everybody throughout this crisis.
Usually during this time of year, we'd most likely be talking to you about what the feel is for the upcoming election. Is anybody even talking about that right now? Usually there's lots of campaign rallies and things going on in Iowa because you guys, you're the heart of America.
There's nothing going on in that aspect. Everybody's more concerned about the welfare of each other right now.
Prior to this, what was the feel there? Is Trump doing a good job? Are they going to support Trump again?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a Trump state. Unfortunately, not to turn this into a political conversation, but it's in front of us. President Trump, I'm neither here nor there. I think that there's pros and cons to both sides of the fence, but I feel like he's handling it the best of his ability, and I think he's got good people around him that are going to take this by the horns, and we're going to get it figured out.
Where do you see us going from here, Wade?
Oh man, that I knew you were going to ask me that question. I'm going to be just as brutally honest as I can. The whole complexion of America will change when this is resolved. Social interactions will be way different. I really am fearful that this is going to be a mechanism used to go to digital currency. It's a scary proposal no matter how you look at it. And I want to rewind a little bit. I hope that we recover from this and things are back on track in a rapid fashion. But the fact of the matter is there's going to be life lost. There's going to be families torn apart. There's going to be some doom and gloom that we're going to have to work past. And it isn't going to be on one person to work through it. We're going to have to work together. This is going to force us to work together. So when we grew up, you and I, it wasn't uncommon to meet out by a bonfire, drink some beers, beat each other up, and then go back and do it again on Saturday night. Those days are gone. As far as the big gatherings and stuff, we won't see that come around probably for a very long time. This is going to change everything. It's going to change the fiscal spending in communities. It's going to change the way grants are wrote. It's going to change the way elections are had. It's going to change the way schools perform. We basically we're going to end up losing a year out of this deal.
Always good to hear from you. Always good to get your perspective on things. This won't be the last time that you're on the show with me, I hope. And we'll talk again soon. You take care out there. And if there's anything we can do here, let us know.
Hey, thanks. Good luck to you, buddy.
The latest numbers from the Johns Hopkins World Map, up-to-date real-time, has 531,860 testing positive now worldwide. Over 500,000.